So a big match of Pool A is just around the corner. All Blacks versus Italy, both sides looking for that spot in the quarterfinals, and this game will help determine who is the side that makes their way through. For the All Blacks, they've made quite a few changes to their starting lineup and reserves, few injury returns. We will be starting with their side, and they are going to be as follows. Number 1, Ofa Tuangafasi. Number 2, Cody Taylor. And number 3, Nepo Lolala. So going with the 2 Blues boys at prop, I'm sure that they'll be wanting to have a better performance than they did have in the last outing up against the Namibians. Looking in the locks, it will be Brodie Retallick at number 4 and number 5, Scott Barrett. So pretty strong in the locking department. Barrett still in decent form from the earlier Rugby Championship, and Retallick recently returning from that injury in the loose forward trio. Speaking of injuries, Shannon Frizzell back at number 6. He has not played a minute in this Rugby World Cup as of yet, but now getting his first chance up against the Italians. They have still got another game against Uruguay around the corner, and I believe Frizzell will need to play, and that as well, to get him enough minutes heading towards those quarterfinals. At number 7, it is Dalton Papali'i, and then number 8, Ardie Savia. So I guess a few surprises in that 4-pack compared to what some people predicted, including myself, but overall a relatively strong start to this All Blacks XV. Looking through at the back line, number 9, they've gone back to Aaron Smith for that experience, and alongside him, number 10, it is Richie Mo'unga. Compared to what they did have in that last game up against the Namibians when it was Roygaard as well as McKenzie, both of those two have got themselves a spot on the bench, which is something the All Blacks have not used so far throughout this Rugby World Cup. Out on the left wing, it is back to Mark Talia. In the centres will be the return at 12 for Geordie Barrett after his knee injury, and number 13, the speedster on his outside, Rico Ioane. Number 14, Will Jordan, and then number 15 to close out the starting lineup for the All Blacks, it will be Beauden Barrett. So at this point, he has started all 3 games of the Rugby World Cup in that number 15 jersey. So I would assume that is who they will be going with if they do make it to those quarterfinals, but maybe switching it up in next game up against Uruguay. Looking through at the bench, number 16, Dane Coles, number 17, Tamaiti Williams, and then number 18, another injury return, and it is Tyrell Lomax. His knee was pretty busted up in the game up against the Springboks, but now he will be back, rearing to go, come off the bench. At number 18, number 19, Sam Whitelock, huge amount of experience in the locks for this matchup between him, Retallick, and Scott Barrett. Number 20, it is another injury return, and that is Sam Cane. He did have back spasms earlier on in the World Cup, which is why he missed that first initial game up against the French, returning into the side here. Number 21, Cam Roygaard, 22, Damian McKenzie, and then at number 23 to close out this AB side, it will be Anton Leonard-Brown. Now I mentioned about the fact that having McKenzie off the bench is actually relatively new for the All Blacks. The reason for that is anytime Mo'unga has started in the past, they've opted not to go with McKenzie. So I'm curious to see what they do later on in this game up against the Italians with him as a sub opportunity. But now looking through at the Italian starting lineup and reserves, it was announced a few hours prior to the All Blacks side. And for Italy, this is a massive game, because if they can secure themselves a victory, that will put them one step closer to those Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Looking through at their starting lineup, it will be number 1, Danilo Fischetti, number 2, Giacomo Nicotera, and then number 3, Marco Riccioni. In the locking duo, it is Dino Lamb at number 4, and then number 5, Federico Ruza. So relatively similar to what we've seen the Italians have throughout the rest of this Rugby World Cup. In the loose forward trio, number 6, Sebastian Negri, number 7, it is Michele Lamaro, the captain of the Italians, and then number 8, Lorenzo Cannoni, a very dangerous ball runner, also makes a lot of tackles per game for the Italians. There's someone to watch out for throughout that Italian 4-pack. Looking through at the back line, it will be Stephen Varney at number 9. Now, he didn't start in the last game up against Uruguay. But then saying that, the Italians, they went with quite a makeshift back line throughout that game. They've gone with Paolo Garbisi as the number 10. He actually did play 12 in the last game. And I believe that the Italians, even though they made so many switches in positions, a lot of those positional switches have been returned to what they were at the start of the World Cup. Number 11, it is Monty Ioane. Number 12, Luca Morisi. And number 13, Juan Inacio Briggs. Number 14, Ange Capuzzo. He did actually start at number 15 for the last game up against Uruguay. And then number 15 to close out the starting side, it will be Tommaso Allen looking through at the reserves. Number 16, Hami Fiver. Number 17, Ivan Nema. And number 18, Simeone Ferrari. Number 19, Niccolò Cannoni, who has had some time in the starting lineup, instead off the bench for this game. Number 20, Manuel Zuliani. Number 21, Toa Halafihi. Number 22, Martin Page-Reloy. And number 23 for the Italians, it is Paolo Odogwu, a man who is a very strong ball runner. Definitely late in the game when the opposition start to tire, he will be one to watch out for here. But this game, it is going to be an 8 a.m. kickoff on Saturday morning here in New Zealand. A must win for both of these sides, like I mentioned. And we will be covering it live on the channel with our commentary, so be sure to check that out. But do let me know what you think of the starting lineup and reserves for both of these two sides. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.